according to the laws of physics.
This reminds me a lot of Coils of Bahamut, you know, like a little bit. This is really cool. Yeah, like the design of this is nice. I like it. Yeah, Allegan technology, exactly.
Man, I feel bad.
You know,
I feel bad, dude. You know I feel bad for Asmon because, man, WoW is never gonna have anything as cool as Coil.
This is cool.
As we know them on Asmon.
I'm sorry, it had to be said. It had to be said. Okay.
So this just got announced a little bit earlier today. I didn't get a chance to watch it because I am an idiot, and I decided that it would be a good idea to stay up until 7:30 in the morning arguing with my chat about cryptocurrency and farming levels on my life staff in New World. So yeah.
Oh, God, dude. Oh, man. Yo, I was up pretty late last night, too. I was playing Vermintide 2 last night. Oh, my God. I wish I would have been streaming. I'm not even kidding, man. I had the sickest Slayer plays, dude. Bruh. I found this whole new love for Slayer. I don't know why it just clicked last night. I used the fucking Great Hammer, the Sledgehammer, and the War Pick. I was jumping, okay? I would like mid-jump with an assassin, and I would full pick them in the head when they jumped to me. It was so fucking sick. So sick, dude. I've been playing the shit out of Carillion. I'm normally a Carillion simp, but last night I was a Slayer main. I was a Slayer main. I had both Mohawks. Both Mohawks coming in hot. Dude. I might stream it tonight, man, if we end up playing. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, we missed the live reaction because of that, and we're going to go through and look at some of the 9.2 changes and just pretty much everything that 9.2 has to offer.
The Shadowlands story pulls together threads that started in Warcraft 3 and wove their way through many of our expansions. We approached it like a drama in 3 acts. Now, as the third and final act begins of the saga, we need to stop the jail.
Wait, the third and final act? Does that mean we're not going to get a 9.3? Like, are we not going to have a 9.3? What the hell?
From reaching his...
So they normally get a 0.3? Can you guys translate it in Final Fantasy terms? Let me try first. 9.1 is the raid tier, so it would be like Eden's Gate. 9.2 would be like Eden's Verse, and then 9.3 would be like Eden's Promise. 2 raid tiers, and oh my God. So basically, they're only getting an Eden's Gate and an Eden's Verse. Just 2 raid tiers. Yo, that's huge. So basically, they just lost a raid tier. That's fucking awful. That is a huge, massive chunk of content. Literally lost a tier.
His ultimate goal, which is to rewrite the rules of reality. Eternity's End serves as the final chapter of one book of the Warcraft saga.
See, like, I don't even see how the jailer is bad. Am I crazy for that? Like, I don't, like, I'm not even convinced the jailer is wrong to begin with. You know what I mean? Like, how do we know he's wrong? Like, they're the ones that put him in jail. We never heard his side of things. He's talking about, like, getting rid of the cycle of life and death. It sucks whenever things die.
The jailer has the advantage. He has seized the sigils of the leaders of the 4 covenants.
We see Sylvanas realize that she's been a pawn in the jailer's game this entire time, and she refuses to serve him, and she's taken prisoner.
The jailer...
I got a question here. In Final Fantasy XIV, we have like a lot of people that are very passionate about the story. Are there as many people that are that passionate about the WoW story in WoW? Like the amount of people. I'm sure there are people that are that passionate, but the amount of people. Not anymore. Let's say a WoW streamer was to be like, you know what? Man, this story fucking sucks. I just skip everything. I hate this story. Would they make as many soft pussy bitches mad as a 14 streamer who is like, dude, this story fucking sucks, man. Holy shit, dude. Oh my God. It's so bad. It's so fucking bad. And if you like it, you're a fucking idiot. Oh my God. Would they lose the amount of the same amount of like viewers, followers, you know, would they lose the same amount? I'm just curious.
Well, you know what this was like? This is what I said originally whenever we talked about this whole Sylvanas not serving the jailer. I feel like whenever you're in leagues with a intergalactic being that is classified as death with a capital
Fury Weekend,
D,
man.
He's so powerful.
He's like my
that
favorite
he had to
synthwave
be
artist.
enslaved by multiple titans, and he basically is the
Check out the song called Automatic
of the
Love.
entire death sequence
It's one of my favorite
in the
by him.
universe.
Him and
and you
Essinger.
think that you're not serving him and you're like partners? That's the same thing as somebody who's a cashier at Walmart, and the cashier, it says they're a partner at Walmart. You're not a partner at Walmart if you're a cashier. You're an employee. And Sylvanas was like maybe a middle manager. And this guy was Sam Walton. Big fucking surprise. It wasn't a partnership. It's just so ridiculous. Anyway.
She refuses to serve him, and she's taken prisoner.
The jailer is able to open a portal to who knows where, taking Anduin with him.
And the Primus had us take some time to retrieve some
that was a good clip.
Now we have gathered our forces. We are working with the...
When Pyromancer just fucking blew up, dude. Now, I don't know him very well. I've watched his stream sometimes. You know, he's really into lore and shit and the Final Fantasy story. So I can only watch it, you know, a little bit here and there. Because I find, like, story streams kind of fucking boring. But that's just because I don't really like the story. However, when I saw that clip, from my impression of him, that was 100% genuine. He was fucking done. He was pissed. And he had every right to be pissed. And I was like, damn, man. Feels bad. If you keep pausing this video every 45 seconds, it's going to be a 3-hour react. Yeah. Oh my God, it's 35 minutes?
Primus to open our own gateway to pursue the jailer to this realm unlike any we've seen before.
Zareth Mortis? That's cool.
We're just watching it straight.
And we come into this alien land. It's completely white, foggy. We're walking on water for some reason.
They can only make out some shapes, some figures there, some crazy devices and consoles.
Eventually, you make your way to a giant gate, and behind it lies Zareth Mortis.
Zareth Mortis was created by the first ones, and it is intended to create afterlives.
Think of it as being tucked away in the fabric of the Shadowlands itself. It's kind of the behind the scenes of these afterlives that we've journeyed to.
It's the land where the progenitors, the first ones who created all of the realms of the Shadowlands, this is their workshop.
They've created everything we've experienced in Azeroth and Shadowlands, and even realms we haven't discovered yet.
These first ones built the universe as far as we know, but their intentions or methods are completely unknown.
But of course, the jailer's presence here is disrupting this process. And we're working to push back against the jailer's forces and protect this place.
Why? Why is the jailer...
Sorry, I have a question. I don't really play WoW, so I'm kind of ignorant to like how they release their information, how they design some stuff, you know, shit like that. Whenever they release shit like this, do they normally go this in depth with the story? Okay, now here's my follow-up question. Do you think they're trying to copy what Final Fantasy does and make the story more important? Because them revealing all of this information, I have never heard of WoW revealing this much in the story. Because that's why I asked, do they normally talk about the story this much? Maybe copy is the wrong word. I guess take some tips.
Jailer bad? Like, there's never been an explanation.
Okay, all right. So keep this in mind. A person that like rarely watches like WoW releases, this is one of the first things I noticed about this video, about this release, is that they're really trying to talk about the story here. It seems like that they don't normally do this. That was my very, very first impression of this whole thing. That's why I asked the question.
Of why the jailer's bad, right? Because he's bald? Because no, that's not why. I don't understand this.
Whoa, hold on.
Because why the jailer's bad, right? Because he's bald?
Who said that? Who said that in the chat? I'm banning him. Because he's big and ugly. Because he's white. What? He fucked his sister, bro. Because he's Madge.
No, that's not why. I don't understand this at all. Like, I understand the idea. So it's basically like, you know how you have like different card games, and there's like Yu-Gi-Oh, and there's Magic the Gathering, and there's Pokemon. And let's assume that all of the card games are printed at the same printer. Well, this is like somebody who really doesn't like Magic the Gathering going to the printer to change the text on the cards that he keeps losing to. That's really what this is. I feel like that's the best way that I can explain this.
Oh, God.
I think the artists have done a fantastic job, and I know they did a lot of research.
Oh, God. You imagine changing Oko's casting cost from 3 to 6? Yeah. Yo, they need to do that.
And they looked at a lot of real-life examples.
Double green, double blue, 2 colorless.
Of very strange places in the real world.
Yo,
As a
Bobu,
team,
thank you for the
we were really
resub.
trying to make this place as
Bioki,
alien
thank
as
you as well.
possible. So we really wanted to make everything feel completely unique and completely different. Our trees here are floating. We have stones that are floating. We even have the massive Forge of Afterlives that is floating in the center of the zone.
And true to its name, it's something that is kind of putting together a new afterlife to be sent out into the Shadowlands.
We have this water all around you because water is really the catalyst for any kind of creation.
It's actually unlike any other water that we've seen before. This is actually water that we can walk on. It almost creates like a threshold between Zereth Mortis and some other kind of more primordial space right below it. Everything you see in Zereth Mortis has a purpose, an intention behind it. For us, it was really important to find ways to convey that intention in the environment itself. And one of the ways in which we did it was through the...
So, I think the visuals of the world. So there's been a couple of times where I think.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't mean to keep pausing the video. Back to my first question. Do they talk about this that much? Another thing that kind of made me ask the question was Asmon's face. Because his face, the expression on his face was, what the fuck kind of live letter is this? Ding donk, question, Strummer.
I think probably the best job that WoW has ever done with this was, do you remember whenever you're in Antorus and you go into the zone where Agrimar is, and like the giant scale of like the Antorus temple and everything? It's just totally fucking different than anything you've ever seen in the game before. And I even think that the Guardian of the first ones, the fight, is really good too because of how unique the architecture and the design of the characters are. I noticed that. I thought it was very good. With this, I think it's good. Sure. Yeah, it's definitely good. But I think that this is just like such an ambitious story to tell. I feel like you probably couldn't even tell this story in 2 expansions, and they're trying to tell it in 2 patches. I don't know. I feel like it's just so ambitious to do that.
This duality between a lush and a dry biome. In the dry biome, we see perhaps what the original look of the zone was when the progenitors were first establishing this workspace for themselves. And in the lush biome, we see the result of their experimentation with plant life and fauna and things like that.
These are all test beds for what we'll eventually see elsewhere.
Okay.
So, does anyone think that what they're showing is kind of cool, like the concept of it? I think that the concept is kind of neat. Like, you go to one area where their experiment worked, and then you get to go to another area where their experiment didn't work. So you see when they fucked up or they haven't got to it yet or whatever, and then they see what... So basically, you could see what they did and what they didn't do. I think it's kind of neat. I do.
From there, we started thinking about what kinds of creatures would be in this place that are fundamentally prototypes. There's terraforming here. There's creatures that are building afterlives. We tried to really
You know what it is, though?
What...
Okay, I'm a big space guy. I like space stuff. I'm a very basic bitch when it comes to space. I like how the universe works. I like the universe. I like Star Trek. I like all that shit. And in some of that stuff, they do talk about terraform. You know what? I have a very biased opinion on this, and I don't think it's the concept that I like so much. I just like the terraforming aspect of it. I think it's just really cool. Anyway.
What that might be like.
My personal favorite includes the giant armored snail, and we also have a progenitor chicken, which answers the question of what came first.
Yeah, I actually do like the chicken.
These first ones who crafted Zereth Mortis, what they left behind were the Automa, meant to take care of the place and make sure that it fulfilled its function to create afterlives.
Okay.
The Automa have several different classes, and you can see this in their silhouettes. We have...
Oh, we got a funny guy in the chat. Oh, we got a funny guy. Same Picard's haircut. Same band chatter.
The builders, we have the protectors. we have the casters, and each one of them have a specific role within the Shadowlands. And then you'll also discover the Jiro, which are a part of the Automa.
Modem.
They're a little more quirky, they have a little more personality, they are a little more sentient than the other Automa, so some of them even split off to pursue their own desires.
Unfortunately, when we found our way in, Devourers also found their way in. They are ravenous.
They're consuming this weird energy, and it's causing them to mutate and to fall apart.
And the Automa, where they are confronted by them, some of them are fighting them off.
And so it's going to take some time for them to understand that we're here trying to help them drive out this threat.
I just feel like whenever you're talking about like these intergalactic, interplanetary, all-knowing creatures that literally create existences themselves, number one, non-elites from Korthia probably shouldn't be much of a threat to them. And number two, wouldn't they have a certain, like, better understanding of reality? Like, wouldn't they call up one of them and be like, yeah, the nipple guy, I don't know what happened, but he's here again. You know, I need you to call security. Yeah, Baldy's back. Let's get him again.
Fortunately, we've got
Baldo's
some allies.
back.
There are some enlightened brokers here that we're going to be working with.
Dong.
But it's a broker that arrived here quite a long time ago and has had a change of heart from looking at the world as a very transactional place to see.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. All right, let me ask you guys a question. Sorry, I keep pausing the video. Let me ask you guys a question. How pissed would people be if WoW made the story you had to do it to like unlock all of the content? Or is it already like that in the game? You already have to do all the story? Not like FF. How pissed would WoW players be if you had to do the story in WoW like you do in Final Fantasy to unlock anything? I mean anything. Because that's what you have to do in 14. Nah, you can't buy a skip. Okay.
Seeing this place as
I've never
a
done the
holy
story in a
place,
while.
a sacred place. We meet an enlightened one named Fareem, and Fareem needs our assistance, and in return he leads us to Haven,
which is a hub that has been created out of progenitor ruins, and this is where the enlightened really have made their home.
Haven serves as our foothold here, as well as use it as a base of operations and really start unlocking the mysteries of this land.
Okay.
The enlightened brokers are intent on protecting and preserving the work of the first ones here, but now they're seeing Zoval.
These are entirely new zones, right? With everything going on Blizzard's end, do you guys think that they actually had time to design all of this, or that they've already had it and they just didn't release it? I mean, you have like the walkouts, you have the harassment lawsuit, you have all that shit. This is a rush job. Do you guys really think that they designed all this shit in a couple months? Like, how can they design all this shit in a couple months, but then delay previous patches and shit? I don't know. That's kind of fishy to me. Like I said, dude, I have no fucking idea how the internal workings happen or whatever, but I just feel like that maybe they had this shit a long time ago. I don't know, maybe.
Bring his forces against the Automa and tear up the land, and they are eager for assistance.
The brokers themselves are very ostentatious.
Why don't they ask the first ones? Like, this is the thing, is like whenever you have a story like this and there's like an obvious question that doesn't get answered.
They knew you had the week off, so they moved release on your call week.
It's just fucking terrible. I hate whenever things have huge plot holes like that.
They're very into materialism, but the enlightened
Wait,
are
gift
not
who a
that
sub?
at all.
Wait, who was it,
They have
Savages?
relinquished this material way, and you'll see this reflected in their clothes.
Who was
they're a
it?
little
Who do you want me to
tattered,
gift
they're a
a
little
sub?
faded, because it just isn't important to them anymore. They're just here for the pursuit of knowledge.
WoW's patch cycle isn't as predictable. Okay.
Okay.
When players arrive, they're kind of fishes out of water.
The
And one of
Picard guy.
first
Who
things
was
that
the
we have to
Picard
do is
guy
start
again?
learning how to communicate
Yo,
with the
Cyrus, thank you for the
Automa.
resub,
Think
man.
of it
Tier
as
2,
a kind
4
of
months.
runic
Thanks a lot, man.
language based in symbols.
We
I'm
will
breaking up
bond
with you.
with a small construct who's pretty cute, actually. And with his assistance and the assistance
Cool.
of Fareem,
I like it. Yeah, I think
we
that's
will
really
learn
cool.
eventually how to understand the symbols through the cipher of the first ones.
I think that's actually really clever, right? I like how you introduce the quests and you can't read any of it. You know, I think that's cool. Like, just as a narrative device, because it's something that we've never really had before. Like, you never had like a time where like you read the quest and you can't really communicate with the NPCs. So it's like a new avenue of interaction that the player can have with the game that is unique.
Cover different parts of this alphabet and start to learn more about the progenitors and Zereth Mortis itself.
It will allow you to unlock new and different forms of content. So that can range from daily quests to new options on the vendors to places to explore and new side quests that open up. So it's really the gateway to exploring the far reaches of Zereth Mortis.
As we looked into the development of Cypher of the first ones, we wanted something that was unique that players haven't seen before. A little bit of familiarity, but something that takes that to the next level.
We really involved the whole team in this creative process. We worked with our UI team to be able to represent those through text, through these things talking and seeing them on screen.
I don't mean to like shit on the graphics here, but is anyone pissed that the game still looks the same as it did back in like 2005 or whatever the fuck it came out? Like, I mean, it's 2021. Is anyone a little upset that the game still looks like this? Nope, nope. Yeah, I don't know, man. I just...
Chat bubbles and...
I guess that's subjective.
Little by little, these kind of runes start taking shape into words that we recognize. But it's going to be a process that unfolds over the course.
Like, I'm just thinking, like, I see these new areas, right?
I think this is an interesting idea. Like, I think the creation of after, like, I think this is, that sounds cool. Like, they might not implement it the way I think that it would be cool, but the way that they are explaining it has the potential to be really, really cool. I think that's interesting. It's like, you know, I'm sure eventually you'll find effectively a Rosetta Stone, right? Or something like that. And, or maybe the Rosetta Stone will be the 9.2.5 catch-up mechanism that allows you to automatically just read what they're saying. And it only costs a certain amount of catalog research that you have to get from Korthia. So, you know, I don't want to give them any ideas, but that's basically what it could be.
Like, I'm not trying to shit on the, like, I'm really not trying to shit on the graph, on the game. It's just like, man, I don't know. I mean, obviously it's biased, right? It's subjective, but it just, I just can't get over it.
They started prototyping all kinds of
I just think it looks so fucking bad. It's because I see these areas with this, like, this forest, right? And all this, like, you know, growth and stuff. It could look so good, I feel. Even this, like, desert area could look so much better, but it just doesn't. It just looks like ass. It looks like shit covered in vomit, man. I'm sorry, I'm not used to it. I'm just
ended up in a cool place.
Like, look at the water, man. It's just, I'm sorry, I'll stop bitching about the
I like that in a way because it's reminiscent of like this Silmarillion lore and the way that like creation is made through music.
Yeah, people like Minecraft, Fortnite,
and
RuneScape,
I actually really like that in like a Lord of the Rings perspective, you know, good connection. Yeah,
it looks exactly like Nintendo
really
64
cool.
to me.
So I think that the way that, because like there's always been like a
lot of people like
strong
64,
mixture
so
between
I get it.
And like metaphors and literature and writing that correlates creation and life to music, and to have the things that create life and afterlife behave in musical ways, I think is a good literary device. They just didn't want to pay voice actors. Yeah, probably.
That they're saying, but still hear those tones.
For those of you that were excited about 9.2, did you care about any of this backstory or anything like that? I'm going to imagine that you guys just cared about the raids and the content. I'm not trying to say the story's bad. I always thought that WoW players didn't really care about the story. That's just the stereotypical thing that I've heard. I've never heard of them going this deep into the story before, but I don't know. Like I said, I'm really ignorant to how they
changed it slightly.
So. Question, Strummer, dink donk.
Sepulchre,
the jailer's true goal has never really been to escape the Maw or to gain power. He's been focused on reaching this place called the Sepulchre, to go into this place of power and to really rewrite the rules of the universe.
They have no equivalent to live letters. Okay, well then what is this then? Depression? Oh, desperation, an announcement. Well, okay, well then what's a live letter? Is a live letter not an announcement? Damage control. This is not a regular thing. This is a rarity. I see. Okay.
We'll learn that the jailer has breached the Sepulchre of the first ones, and this becomes our new raid for Eternity's End. We're going to gather our forces. We're going to pursue the jailer inside. Once you go inside the Sepulchre, There's some mind-blowing visuals. This is a place that...
Okay, if Final Fantasy were to release a patch where they didn't talk about the story, I would think that would be odd, which is the same concept here, right? If you guys are telling me that WoW doesn't normally talk about the story, then this is odd, right? Mind-blowing visuals concern.
Should not be able to
really
exist
like
according
that.
to the laws of physics as we know them on Azeroth. Just looking out into this impossible sky, according to the laws of physics.
This reminds me a lot of Coils of Bahamut, you know, like a little bit. This is really cool. Yeah, like the design of this is nice. I like it. Yeah, Allegan technology, exactly.
Man, I feel bad.
You know,
I feel bad, dude. You know I feel bad for Asmon because, man, WoW is never gonna have anything as cool as Coil.
This is cool.
As we know them on Azeroth.
I'm sorry, it had to be said. It had to be said.
Just looking out into this impossible sky of seeing these ancient works of the first ones, those laws don't apply to
When's he got
anything
stream
we see.
14 again, man?
Among the bosses that we're going to face in Sepulchre of the First Ones include the Jailer's forces, maybe a Dreadlord or two that you haven't tied up loose ends with. We'll face a Consular. This is similar to a being like Algalon, but the Jailer's gotten to it and has infused his domination magic into the Consular. Algalon, but the Jailer...
Well, I thought the Consulars like Algalon were agents of the Titans. I thought it was very explicitly stated that
Probably after
Algalon
Walker's out.
was an agent of the Titans. Okay. So the Dreadlords, was it ever explicit? This is a question. I actually don't know the answer to this. Was it ever explicitly stated that in the story, not just implied, but stated that Sire Denathrius was the progenitor of the Dreadlords? Because, like, I feel like that in 9.1, I must have just clicked through that story or I never really got to it. Because I feel like that's such a big deal. Like, you have the Dreadlords in Warcraft 3. And it's actually Sire Denathrius with this 10 billion IQ fucking plan that spans tens of thousands of years that involves corrupting Sargeras, you know, infiltrating the Burning Legion, infiltrating potentially...
What did Pyromancer think about this?
What's his name?
About
the
9.2, I'm curious.
Dreadlord, it starts with a D.
Did he like it, or did he think it was fucked up?
And doing all
or does
these
anyone
things. Lothraxion, yeah, there we go, Lothraxion.
Oh. Okay.
It just kind of, it's like, okay, well, that's done. Yeah, we got him. That's about it.
Okay, the only reason why I keep asking about the story, man, is because this reveal, this trailer, it really caught me off guard. I just wasn't expecting to see this much story from a WoW trailer. But then again, I don't really watch very many WoW stuff, so I just, like I said, I've always had the stereotypical WoW mentality that they just don't care about the story. And to see this much story, it's just a little confusing to me, is all. Yeah, that's the only reason.
I don't know. I feel like they...
Yo, Daisho, thank you for the resub.
Talked about that a little bit more. I mean, it's such a...
Cam with the massive
conclusion.
Massive 6 years. Holy shit.
Should have had like a
72 months. OG.
Talking about it, explaining it, like... Oh, man.
OG, thank you very much, man.
We'll face a Consular. This is similar to a being like Algalon, but the Jailer's gotten to it and has infused his domination magic into the Consular. Before we get to
That's because you only talk to raiders. I mean, that doesn't mean anything, though. There's a lot of raiders that care about the story in Final Fantasy. That doesn't mean anything.
To Anduin first. Our hope is that we can learn whatever
There were so
Anduin
many
knows
raiders who care about the
domination
story
magic.
of Final
We
Fantasy.
need to be able to resist it, or better yet, fight it.
There were so many
We know
raiders who
players have been
are
waiting
afraid
a
to
long
care
time
about
for
the
the return
story
of
of
tier
Final
sets, and as
Fantasy
devs,
because
we
they
have
are
too.
afraid of
It's
being
a
bullied
great blend
or
of
called
progenitor
war
magic,
nerds.
golds and metals,
You spit
along
on
with
their
those
plight.
class-defining.
So obviously, like the armor here, I really like it. I think it looks cool. I think this looks cool. Because here's... I understand, like, you guys are thinking, oh, it's like, it's not cool, I don't like the colors. There's clearly going to be different versions. There's going to be 6 different versions of this, right? There's going to be LFR, normal, heroic, mythic, the normal PvP version, and the heroic PvP version, right? So there's going to be 6 different versions. No, there won't be. I don't know. But I think that would be cool. Check the in-game ones on WoWhead. I'll look at that in a
Silhouettes,
minute.
wolves for shamans, pointy things for rogues. It's going to look amazing.
Our class and combat team was super excited to bring class sets back. This is something that felt really right for the story. We're in the final act of the Shadowlands saga. We're here literally on the brink at each story. We're in the final act of
I'm gonna be honest, I think this looks really bad, and like I don't really like the way that looks either. The gnome.
Bring class sets back. This is something that
like these look like the Trial of Valor sets with more shinies on them.
Felt really right for the story. We're in the final act of the Shadowlands saga. We're here literally on the brink at eternity's end.
I'm gonna be honest, I think it all looks like shit. But that's just because I don't like the art, so, you know.
And what better place to...
I really like the empty face. Like, this actually, I think, is cool. I really like this tier set.
And what better place to fully unleash the power of these classes? And I think players will really enjoy the return of those class sets just as much as the team enjoyed making them.
I'm sorry, I really don't mean to keep like
How do you
picking
make
at the
something that
visuals.
is
It's just
mystical
been
and magical and
it's just not my thing.
incomprehensible and yet understandable. I think we've done a good job of finding that line.
The team as a whole has been working so hard, and we are so excited to get this out for everyone.
We're gonna...
You don't have to have things be understandable. I really like this mount here.
And we are so excited to...
Like, that's really, really cool. It's obviously the jellyfish mount from Legion, but the skeleton of it, but it is
Hey,
really
Kudos,
cool.
thank you for the resub.
Like
Also,
for example,
Warden,
there are
26
things
months, man.
in different stories that exist, and there is really no explanation to why they're there.
So these are
Tom
reskins?
Bombadil, Ungoliath. Let's see. Those nameless things deep in Moria. Maybe, yeah. I think that. So there's that ambiguity. Like there's been a lot of ambiguity in games. I don't think that you necessarily need to have something as core to design and as core to like the story explained. I don't necessarily think that you need to have that. And I think that not having that can create an element of mysticism that actually makes a story more compelling.
To get this out for everyone.
We're gonna get new mounts, new pets.
A bit horrifying for me, but exciting for some is the fact that, you know, some of the spider mounts can now fly. Who needs flying spiders? But that's also going to be a cool thing for people.
We have updates to professions, to soulbinds, to conduits. There's a new dancing.
Hey, Lenny, thank you for the sub.
Great.
I'm a story guy, so I'm
Cass,
super
thank you for the
geeked
sub.
about watching players kind
Yo,
of
so many
piece
subs
together
today. Holy
those
shit.
little lore
Thank you guys a
tidbits.
lot.
That's what excites me.
Crazy.
As well.
I'm really looking forward
I
to
wish they would just like with Steve Denuzer, right? Here's really the problem that I have with the way that Steve like tells stories, and this is probably not entirely his fault, but I remember whenever he talked about how he liked the Game of Thrones ending and season 8 of Game of Thrones.
Best beard
I
on
don't
Twitch.
think that the
Oh my
Game of
God.
Thrones ending was bad.
Oh my god. No, you.
I think that it was a good ending.
Put
it
a
just
bow in the
wasn't
tip.
built up properly. And in my opinion, I think that he's making the same mistake with the storyline in WoW. Is that I actually think this is an incredibly interesting storyline,
I didn't watch Pecora play
but it
14.
just lacks about 30 or 50
I was asleep.
cinematics.
I stayed up till like
Imagine if we had
6 a.m.
50 extra cinematics to explain what's going on in the jailer's head, what's going on in Sylvanas' head. And this is exactly what they're doing with the story in World of Warcraft, is that they are creating a villain with unknown intentions, and we are in the 11th hour of those intentions coming to fruition. And we still don't know anything about them. See, one of the really good things about Garrosh is that you knew what his intentions were, and they were savage, but they were purely savage. And there's a certain type of simplicity. There's a certain type of purity in the binary black and white nature of the way that Garrosh looked at the world, right? And like the absoluteness of the brutal savagery. And I think that's why it was so cool. And he never went back on that. Like, Garrosh was great. But imagine if you never had... It's like, imagine if you took out Garrosh choking the guy out after he burned down the village. Imagine if you took out Garrosh feeling and getting basically depression after he killed Cairn because he didn't know that he had a poisoned dagger that was given to him by Magatha Grimtotem. Imagine if you didn't have Garrosh and like the whole story that he went through in Draenor, and then Thrall comes and tells him that his father's actually a hero, or sorry, Outland. Imagine if you didn't have any of that. Well, then you have the Jailer. You see what I'm saying? So the problem is that if they want to tell a story with this many wrinkles and this big of a scope, they have to invest in cinematics to tell the fucking story. They can't expect for people to buy a book. I don't want to do homework to understand what's happening in a video game. It's ridiculous.
I get it. I get it. That's why they're talking so much about the story. It's because they want you to buy the book. It all comes down to money. I want you to buy the book. Okay.
Tazavesh is getting split into 2 dungeons. If you're a raider, if you chase Keystone Master, if you're an achievement collector, there's something for everyone to do in this.
Shadowlands is like the final chapter of one book of the Warcraft saga. And our team is already hard at work on the next stories to come. Can't talk about them quite yet, but when the time is right, we're going to be really excited to share them with you.
See, I think we can contrast this with the, obviously the, that Yoshi P said that Endwalker is the culmination of the story, the Hydaelyn and Zodiark.
Dude, so Final Fantasy story is coming to an end, so the WoW story has to come to an end. Is that what he's about to talk about?
Arc, right? And the difference is that you learn about Hydaelyn in the first hour of playing the game, and you learn about Zodiark in, I think it's like ARR prologue or prologue, or like you learn about him basically very, like, imagine like this bar is the storyline of Final Fantasy, right? You learn about Hydaelyn right here, and you learn about
Zodiark
thank you
for the
right
resub.
here. But the problem is that to say that this is the end of some gigantic chapter,
18 months.
We didn't even know we were reading the book until right here. We didn't know about it all this time. We had no idea. There was no lead up to this. There's nothing, right? Now, like, if you compare this with Sargeras, and Sargeras, like, leading up to Sargeras was like, that was a good story, right? Because there was Sargeras in Warcraft 3, there was Sargeras in World of Warcraft, and like his influence, the Burning Lead.
So this was just released today about 9.2. Were people really pissed that they're not getting the final raid tier? Or did they just not care? They are denying there was even going to be another one. Let's just think about this for a second. It's got to the point for players of WoW, they're so fucking done with all of the nonsense that they didn't even expect them to come out with an equal amount of raid tiers. Do most expansions have 4 different raid tiers? 3 or 4. Okay. You never really know what to expect. All right. I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you for a second, man. I've said this for years. Okay? I've said this for years, man. I really have. But your patch cycles are extremely predictable. Okay? Extremely predictable. We know exactly what the fuck it is we're going to get when we're going to get it. Thank you. Thank you very much. You know why that's great? What I expect, what I get. And you make it happen. There have been some fuck ups along the way, but nobody is perfect. No company is perfect. Fucking love you, man. Fucking love you, man.
Legion, Burning Crusade, right? And finally, whenever we get him, we put him back in jail.
VIP
like,
him.
Thank fucking God, we got his ass, you know?
Gift him a sub.
And that's a good thing. This all somehow ties back to Sargeras. This is going to suck. So I genuinely don't know how this is going to end. Like, I think that, in my opinion, what is the best outcome of the story? In my opinion, the best outcome of the story is in the last phase of the jailer fight. Whenever we're about to kill him, it plays a cinematic. And he says, "Why aren't you on my side? You're all already dead." It flashes back to the fact that the idea that we killed N'Zoth was a dream, everybody was actually destroyed and killed by N'Zoth, just like
Yo,
the
Zombie, thanks
prophecy
for the resub.
Sylvanas said was going to happen in the end of the Fourth War. Everybody's
Adidas
fucking
with
dead.
the sub.
The jailer does it. He snaps his fingers, right? And he completely re-originates the universe, deletes N'Zoth,
Yo, that sounds like a Realm Reborn.
lives, fucking changes all of Azeroth, and completely fucking remakes the entire universe. And he wins. And
Why
the
do you
next
look like
story
father and son?
is
Because we're actually the same person. We're actually the same person. I'm just from the future. Okay? So this is Asmon in the future. We're actually the same person.
us getting Sargeras, because he's the only thing in the whole universe that could kill the jailer.
Watching
right?
your own content,
Us
resident
convincing
sleeper.
Sargeras to go back and undo it. Now that would be a cool ending. Then also, like with Sylvanas, I think I've said this before, right? What is the best literary ending for Sylvanas? What is the best story ending for Sylvanas? In my opinion, the best story ending for Sylvanas is for Sylvanas to be the new Lich King. This was always teased throughout the course of World of Warcraft, and I think that with Sylvanas being the Lich King, she effectively, and here's why, right, is that Sylvanas wants eternal life, and the Lich King imprisons her in eternal life, but she is imprisoned in eternal life, and she becomes a servant, the one thing that she did not want to do. It's like the poetic ending of the villain getting exactly what they want in the worst way possible, right? It's poetic justice, exactly. That is, in my opinion, what the best ending for Sylvanas is. I don't think they should kill Sylvanas. I think that if they do kill Sylvanas, it should be her sacrificing herself for her sisters, because that's the only thing that would even partially redeem her character. And I think that would be good. But the split soul thing, I think, is a plot device, and it should have never happened. I think that the split soul thing is honestly just them being afraid of retconning something that happened 5 years ago. It was ridiculous. All right, I'm going to pull up the Wowhead stuff, and we're going to make sure we get the rest of this so I can just make sure I get everything out for the video. New mounts and pets.
Ding dong, question time. Is 9.2 the tipping point? Meaning, do you think if this patch goes bad, can they recover? Like, do you think this is the last straw? 10.0. That's the new expansion. There will never be a last straw. Okay. All that 9.2 needs to do is not be shit. Okay. Do you guys think that they're going to try to release this on the same patch as the Ultimate? Ooh. Oh, God. Anyone that recently came to Final Fantasy, like, is not currently playing WoW and is playing Final Fantasy, is it going to really bother you that Final Fantasy and WoW patches come out at the same time? Will you be torn of which one to play? No, we are done with WoW. Nah, fuck. Oh, wow. Okay. Never mind. All right. I was just curious.
I mean,
why not both?
These are cool.
Well, my reason being is because some people, they like to go really hard when a new content comes out. And you can't go hard on 2 games, right? You just don't have enough time. If you're a person that does play both and they come out with a raid and an ultimate at the same time, I'm just trying to put myself in their shoes, I would be fucking torn. Depending on what, like if it's just normal mode, then obviously I would choose Final Fantasy. But if it was like the raid, then I don't know.
I really like this one. I think this one's really cool. Yeah, all of these mounts are not. I like that. I think I might
there's
like
no
this
rush
one
in
the most,
FF.
actually.
I mean, there's no rush in WoW either, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
this
going
is
by
cool.
your mentality.
The snail is cool
My
too.
mentality is completely
New
different. There's
pets
always
as
a rush.
well. Great. Happy to see it. Solo queue.
Just because.
Oh, they're adding solo.
Just because it's typical for a Final Fantasy player to say, "Oh, there's no rush." While that's true, there is no rush. It also depends on your mentality, because I'm sure there's no rush in WoW either, right? I mean, the content's gonna fucking be there, so you could just do it, right? Content dies in WoW. They delete content in WoW. If you miss a patch, you can't play it again. Do you guys know that that's not cool? You guys know that that's not okay? Look, I know tensions are high, okay? I'm not against anybody. I'm just asking questions. Okay? I'm just asking questions. I'm not trying to piss anybody off. All right? I'm just literally asking questions. This is coming from a person who doesn't really play WoW, so that's why I have so many questions. I don't know anything. Wide Peepo happy. Oh.
Hello, Q, finally. That's good. See, this is actually a really smart thing. And this is what I said that they should...
Look at the post below. New level 60 character boost.
That's good. See, this is actually a really smart thing. And this is what I said that they should do, right? Is that they should add in solo queue to a certain degree as a brawl to just see what happens. It's just a brawl. You know what else was just a brawl? Seething Shore. And now it's an actual battleground in the game that you can queue for at any time. So they're clearly using the brawl system as a testing grounds for new content. It's basically like a PTR that you pay for. Sepulchre, the first one's raid is time gated.
Whoa.
As a testing grounds for new content. It's basically like a PTR that you pay for.
They're doing this dumbass shit, what Ashes of Creation did, where you have to pay to play the fucking beta. The fact that Ashes of Creation had people pay to play that beta, dude, that game is, dude, holy shit. That game, talk about like being on a high horse. Holy shit. You don't pay extra by being on the PTR. Oh, I see.
Sepulchre, the first one's raid
Your
is
sub.
time gated, face 8 bosses, including Anduin in the first week. Okay. I don't think it's that big of a
that's
deal.
fine.
They did this
You're
for
paying
ICC,
to play the game anyway, that's
and
fine.
it wasn't
sorry.
that bad.
I thought there was like a separate fee.
I really don't think it's that big of a deal, like a 2-week thing. I think that dragging some content out is not necessarily the worst thing. Almost all developers and like Final Fantasy does the same thing. It's like whenever Endwalker comes out, Pandemonium doesn't release the same day. Thank God I can fucking pay money to not have to level my characters now. Holy shit, I've been waiting for this. They need to just bring this out at the beginning of the expansion. Like, please. No, just bring this out at the beginning of the expansion. Like, I hate leveling. I don't want to do it. Like, let me just fucking give you $60 and let's call it a day, okay? Like, how many characters do I have to boost for this? Tier sets? Oh, yeah. Let's look at tier sets. Tier sets will be obtainable in PvP and Mythic Plus as well. Huh. That's really interesting. Read the blue? Oh, yeah. Okay, sorry, I didn't read that. However, we're making some major changes. Sometime after Eternity's End's releases, you'll unlock a Forge of Creation system and earn a new currency. The currency, along with an item from PvP or dungeons, can be transformed into a tier set piece. This is supposed to work like bad luck protection, or again, people wanting to make new characters as a catch-up method if you start in late. More systems? I actually think this is an example of a lot of the people, because I know a lot of people that are saying that are probably like Final Fantasy fans. You understand this is the exact same as the totem system that you have in Final Fantasy, right?
Yeah, isn't this good? Yeah, because when I read it, this is supposed to work like a bad luck protection. Yeah, you started like, yeah, so this system seems good, yeah. Because I copied for, okay, yeah. I mean, it's just a pity system. Pity systems should be in every game. There should be RNG, but let me give you an example of a really bad game. Ion Classic is a really bad game. There's no pity system and the RNG is horrible. And in Final Fantasy, you can get unlucky, but you get a book each time. So Final Fantasy's gearing system is very, very, very good. Is it boring? Yeah. But is it good? Yes. So yeah, this is good.
Right? I do not necessarily think that this is, it's not a fundamentally bad thing. We'll wait to see what it is. Elaborate. So the idea is that every single time that you kill a boss in Final Fantasy, like let's say you kill Alexander, bosses in Alexander, or you kill like an extreme. They have these for extremes for sure. You get a totem, and then you can sell those. Like you do the Odin Fate, and you get a certain amount of items and your totems. You can redeem them at the vendor, and you can buy the items that could drop from Odin. So, and this is a system that is liked by people in Final Fantasy. And this is effectively what they are doing. We might normally have patched this in much later in the game, but we wanted to introduce these systems earlier to give players a clearer roadmap.
That's so weird. You know what, like, one of the most important pieces of gear has been this entire expansion? The Hero's Gauntlet gear, dungeon gear, because it's used for tea, and they don't have a pity system for it. Like, I don't understand why. At the end of the dungeon, it should just give you a piece of gear, like it does in the leveling. Why doesn't it do that? I'm pretty sure no dungeon like that gives you gear.
This is a sentence that I've been waiting to hear for 5 years. I think that why would you have normally patched it in later? Ask yourself that question. And then that question, the answer to that question, will be the answer to why a lot of people are frustrated with the game. Problem is they come up with the systems, the players beg for the next expansions, it's gone again, people have to beg for them again. Well, this is what I said before, right? Like, my faith in WoW will not be restored until next expansion. That's what's really going, this is what I said before, right? Is that 9.1.5 is giving all the players what the stuff that they want. Great. Okay, but does this mean that you can actually react and make changes as things occur while they're being released and while they're being tested? Because that's always been the problem. Copia and next expansions, I didn't say that it's going to save WoW. I said that it is a point where I will either have faith in WoW or not. You see kind of what I'm saying? And the thing is, like, if you have no faith, great, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. But let's see what they can do. And if it's good, great, we have a new game to play. If it's not, who gives a fuck? We're going to play the Riot MMO. We're going to play Final Fantasy. We're going to play New World whenever they can get their shit together. We're going to play
Yo, that's the biggest copium right there. People are saying, yo, 10.0 is going to be the fucking turnaround. And then Asmon's like, no, when New World gets their shit together. Yo, that's the biggest copium right now. Dude, New World is done. It's donezo, man. It ain't coming back, dude. It's not. It's done. It's done.
Arc. We've got a million other games that we got to play. Elden Ring. Who gives a fuck, man? Who cares? Like, I'm not going to fucking sit here and cry about it every fucking day. If it sucks, I'm just going to play the other game. I'll complain about it when I hear about it or whenever it brings it up. But really, I mean, that's what it comes down to. Like, I don't need to sit around and get pissed off about this shit all the time.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing, man. Let's say that there are people that are really still into WoW. They really still like WoW. You know, that's fine. You know, you like what you like. And like, I like to joke about it, you know, or whatever, but like, I'm never serious. Like, I don't want New World to die. I don't want WoW to die. I don't want like any game to die. It's like the whole WoW versus Final Fantasy thing. Like, you have people that play WoW, you have people that play Final Fantasy. And like sometimes WoW players don't like Final Fantasy players, sometimes Final Fantasy players don't like WoW players, and it's purely because of the game that they play. Like, why does the game that they play even matter? Is it because those people over there are having fun, and because they're not having fun in your game or your version of fun, that you're mad about that? That is just so petty. It's the same thing as the people that are really into story and they say, oh, I don't like Xeno because he doesn't like the story. You purely don't like me because we don't share the same things in common when it comes to fun. It would be like if anybody that was into the story, if I just automatically hated you because I'm not into it. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me, man. I've never understood that mentality. Read the story, Zeem. Smadge.